Hello, and welcome back to episode 3 of the Oh Snap Podcast, hosted by Snap Duo. Whether you're watching on Spotify, YouTube, or now Apple Podcasts, we thank you for being here. My name is Reese.
I'm Vincent, and on this podcast, we talk everything photography, videography, and small business. So with that, let's get into our weekly recap.
Perfect. Let's start with editing. Right now we've got, I think 3. We had 4 weddings in the process of being edited.
We sent one out. Woot woot.
Woot woot. We sent one out that was full service photography and videography.
That was 400 photos. Came out to over 400 photos.
Yeah.
And a 7-minute highlight film.
Yes, it was great. It was very beautiful. Now we have 3 weddings in the editing process. So that's what we've been doing this week. We also had an event we were editing. So it's been very, very busy editing week, I would say.
Yeah, a lot of fun. And we also spent time with Dad.
We did. We got to spend time with Dad and my brother this weekend. And for those who were listening last week to our podcast, I mentioned very smallly, very quickly, I mentioned a Diet Coke camera that I have been dying to get my hands on. Well, my dad listened to our podcast and called Vincent right away and said, "Where is it?"
He said, "Where is it?" I said, "It's at an antique shop in Riverside." He said, "Can you call?" I called. They said, "We can't put anything on hold or whatever because it's such a big store and we don't know where it's at." And I told them that you're standing right next to it and exactly where it was at. And they were able to put it on hold. And after work, he went and picked it up. I don't know if you want to show it. It's right over there.
So this is my Diet Coke camera that we were talking about. Yes, it looks just like a Diet Coke, but it is fully a camera.
I keep thinking it's an actual Diet Coke can, and I want to tell you to
Put
take
it away.
it off your desk.
It's so cute. And it's open right now. I guess I opened it. But it is a film camera from 1978, and it says Taste Diet Coke.
Can I see it real quick?
Yes, of course.
I don't know if you can hear or hear, if you can see it, but on the back it still says patent pending.
I wonder if they've forgotten that.
This was This was made back in 1978, so the patent is still pending.
Very cool.
Allegedly.
Thank you to my dad. He is incredible, and it can now join our camera collection.
What else did you get this weekend?
Also, thanks to Dad, I got a new Michael Myers bobblehead, but if you can see, it comes with a protection around the bobblehead neck. And I don't want to take it off because it kind of looks like he has a neck brace. But it is a bobblehead. It's Michael Myers next to his head. So I don't know if anyone's ever seen that movie, but Dad also got me this.
Mm-hmm.
I collect things.
I collect a lot of things. And then we also got
Ooh, this one's exciting.
these. It's not that exciting if you don't know, but it is Apple floppy disks. It sounds bad when I say it like that, but it was in a box for like $26.99, and I took it up to
at an antique store.
Yeah, and I took it up to the thing and I asked them, will they sell it just like that with just these? And originally they said no, and then he called the guy and he said, yeah, $5 a piece. So we got these. This one goes for like 20. This one goes for like 40. So technically we did get a deal on some.
Do you remember what year the computer was? I know it was in the 90s.
It was in the 90s.
It's pretty cool.
It's a floppy disk.
So-
we got 2 floppy disks.
So again, thank you, Dad, for adding to our collections that we like to keep. What else did we do with him?
We originally were supposed to go to the Orange County Fair, but unfortunately, as we drove up, it had the sold out sign.
And it was the last weekend of the fair, and we really wanted to make it this year, and just wasn't
and
in the cards.
nobody was there. It was sold out for that night, but
They wouldn't let us in.
No, they would not let us in. So that's okay. We ended up doing. If we didn't go to the OC Fair. If we did go to the OC Fair, we wouldn't have gotten the Michael Myers, and we wouldn't have gotten the floppy disk.
The floppy disks.
So it all worked out.
It did. We ended up going antique shopping in downtown Orange. Highly recommend it for anyone who likes antiques. They have multiple stores all on one road and multi-story stores. Amazing. We did that. And then we went bowling.
At Bolero.
And it was Vincent's idea to go bowling. And we soon found out why he wanted to, because he is a pro. He beat us in all 3 games that we played. But it's okay.
I have not bowled in probably, I think the last time I went bowling was with you.
I think we went for Travis's birthday.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that was 5 years ago, maybe?
4 years ago?
4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, other than that.
I don't think we actually even bowled.
No, we did not. We did not actually
Okay, so
bowl.
that doesn't count.
Well, we went there.
But he beat us in all 3 games that we played, and that was very fun. And then we went to one of our favorite places to eat, which is Chipotle. Chipotle is my life.
Oh my God. I love Chipotle.
So that is what we did this Saturday. Spent time with Dad. And then yesterday was extremely important to us because we got to photograph our best friends, Kayla and Freddie, their maternity photos. Yes, I cried during the photo shoot. I don't usually do that, I promise. But that was really special. We got to do a sunset session with them at the beach.
And she was the first person to volunteer herself to go into the water.
And when we say go into the water, she really was completely fine with going all the way in.
I brought shorts. I was ready for it.
I was not prepared. I wore jeans. I also have like sensory problems. So different textures are just not, don't like them. And within probably 3 minutes of being there, the tide was high and we got completely splashed with water. I had sand in my jeans and it was just not.
And the sun went down extremely fast.
Yeah, it was probably the fastest I've ever seen the sun go down. So we ran out of light fairly quickly, but whew, those photos look amazing so far.
Yeah, they're
Very
coming out really
exciting.
good.
So
All right. So
we have a little bit of a celebration for this episode's podcast.
we just hit 2
Wait,
years.
This podcast episode. I don't know if anyone's even going to catch that, but I just mixed up words. This podcast episode, we have a little bit of a celebration
2 years in business.
for Snap Duo Photography and Videography.
And to celebrate, we're going to do a little game called Top 2.
Perfect. Can I ask you the first question?
Sure.
Great. So for the first question, it's going to be, what are 2 things that we have learned in our first 2 years? You want to give one and I'll give the other?
Yeah, I think one of the big ones is editing. I think our editing has changed a lot.
Why don't you start with how the list of the different things you've done?
I
want to say my own. You say yours.
For me personally, I first started editing videos on, it was a phone app, and I would take the videos and then I would put them onto my phone, and then I would try to edit them through there, which was very difficult because it's such a small screen and you can't really see too much of what you're doing, and then add text and do all that stuff is very difficult. So I upgraded from that. That was a long time ago though. And then I went to Apple iMovie.
Oof.
It's better than the phone, but it's still nowhere, that good. It's missing a lot of things. But from there, we upgraded it to Premiere Pro.
Beautiful.
And Premiere Pro is where it's all at. The new movie, what movie was it? The
one that Jamie Lee Curtis was in.
Everywhere, Anywhere, at All Time, or something like that. Something like that. That was all edited on Premiere Pro, and that made it in the theaters and everything. So
that won Oscar.
Yeah, I think it won an Oscar.
Well, Jamie Lee Curtis won an award for it, and that's all I care about because yes, she is in Halloween.
Yeah. So I would say editing is a very big part, especially on the video side of it.
And just to solidify, it's Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's the movie that you're talking about.
We haven't seen it, but
I want to.
Yeah.
Solely for Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Okay, what about for you?
Okay, so
with the editing,
with editing, I started As soon as I got out of high school, I have always edited all my photos on Apple Photos. I know. So you just go on your laptop, and on the Photos app, they have, different exposure, things like that, lighting, colors. That's how I used to edit my photo shoots. And when Vincent found out that that's how I like to edit photo shoots, he was...
Well, because I would look at them and I'd go, oh, okay, that's not bad. But then I'd go to the next one and I'm like, the greens are a completely different green. Like, what happened?
Because it's different. There's nothing like presets.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, presets are kind of like filters, but it's how you edit your photos. So you'll put a preset on something and then adjust it wherever you need to be. But I didn't have those, so I was pretty much just essentially editing the colors of the photos. But you can't copy that edit and then put them on all of them so that they look similar.
Mm-hmm.
So every photo was coming out different. Yeah, so that's where I started. But it's okay because there's room to grow. From Apple Photos, I went to Lightroom, just regular Lightroom. That worked great for a while. A lot of tools that it took a while to learn, but had no problem learning them. I used that for probably, what would you say, the first year in business?
Yeah, first year. Yeah.
First year I used Lightroom. And then there came a time when we started doing weddings. And Vincent said, okay, it's time, you have to do Lightroom Classic. And I went on it and it scared me.
Because it doesn't look new at all. It looks old. Like, it looks like it was built in the early 2000s and they've never touched it. Yeah.
They've updated it so it looks a little better. Yeah. But when I first went on it, I was like, why am I going backwards? That's what it felt like. It felt like I was moving my technology backwards. And he said, no, this is what all the professionals use. You got to learn it. You have to. So it took a couple shoots of me still using Lightroom and him going, did you use Lightroom Classic? And I was like, no, not yet. I was not behind it. I did not want to do it. But let me tell you, I don't think I could ever go back to Lightroom again. I am so hooked on Lightroom Classic. The tools that they have.
It's so customizable.
So customizable.
Yeah.
You can, the layers where I can, pick something up or pick a certain person up and change the way that their skin tone looks to make it, more cohesive. Lightroom Classic's amazing. I love it.
We also know Photoshop very well.
Oh, not me.
Okay, I know Photoshop very well.
It always cracks me up when they're like, hey, Reese, do you guys think that you could take this person out of my photo? And I'm like, you mean Vincent? Vincent can. Yeah. Me, I'm not touching it.
One of our weddings, they had one person in it and they didn't want the person in the wedding anymore. Or in the photos. It wasn't
a blood relative. So a blood relative snuck this person in their photos without telling them. Yeah. And it's their wedding day. They're not going to notice. So.
But they lined the people up. There was probably 8 to 10 people in the line and took the photo. And then I had to move the person out, edit the person out, but then make sure I copy the people first. And then once I moved the person out and then blended it to where the background looked like it did before without them standing there, then I had to put them back into there and then make sure it's all fine. We got it done.
And we should also add that this non-family member who was just a guest at the wedding, you'd think if someone was telling you to come into this photo, they'd stand on the end. No, they stood one person away from the bride and groom, which made our lives a little bit more difficult trying to get this person out of the photos. But it was totally doable because Vincent's a master at Photoshop.
This is a lot of fun, though.
It's fun. Well, it's fun for you.
It's fun to see.
It's fun for me because I don't have to do it. And then I get to watch his before and afters. We like to post those on Instagram.
The before and afters are really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing that we have learned in our first 2 year of business, what would you say?
Planning. We've learned how to plan better and plan our days out better, especially with weddings, and thinking of the worst scenario possible that can go wrong, and
having a set plan for it so that we're not lost on the day of or get a little stressed. Another thing that I think we've kind of mastered at this point is asking before the wedding certain shots that our bride and grooms need to have. Photos with grandparents, or there's this best friend of mine who couldn't be in the wedding or they didn't have a bridal party. but I want to make sure during family photo time that person and I get a photo together. That's so important.
Yeah, we'll have to have an episode where we go over our wedding contract so that we can show people all the questions and everything that we ask.
Absolutely.
Because we do ask, we have a shot list and people can go over that, but a lot of times they'll add more.
We have like an empty spot where they can add what they want.
Yeah.
But I think that planning, especially for weddings, because it is such a large day, it's important to have everything kind of planned out beforehand so there's no lost communication.
Well, and you don't know how something could look completely different on Google, and then you show up there and you're like, wait, I didn't see that tree, I didn't see that or that, and so you're able to really plan it out and make sure that everything is executed perfectly. So
yeah, that's another thing with planning is the fact that we will not have, if the wedding's local, so unless it's a destination wedding, because we've done a few of those, if the wedding's local, we will not shoot at the wedding unless we have been there before. So we go a week, a month before the wedding and check out the entire grounds of the venue just to make sure that we know the lighting, the parking situation, where we think we should do bride and groom shots, where we think we should do bridal party shots. We are very meticulous in the fact that we need to have everything planned to make our bride and groom's day go as smooth as possible.
Yeah, we reach out to the DJ and make sure that we have all the right connectors and everything.
Mm-hmm.
At our last wedding, we got a little lucky because we had 2 sources of audio, and if we didn't have the 2 sources of audio, then we wouldn't have been able to get the vows properly because everybody's cell phones was blocking the signal of the microphone and the DJ stand.
Yeah.
And so it kept cutting in and out. But thankfully, we had mic'd the groom. And so we have all of the audio.
That's another thing, especially for the line of business we're in. But in all business, so it just a little advice for all business owners, always have a plan B.
Plan B is very important. Yeah, because, you never know. And there's so many moving parts to a wedding. And if you don't have a plan B and something fails, you really don't get a do-over at a wedding.
That's with, like he said, the DJ having 2 connectors. Did I say that? Connectors?
2 different wires.
Wires.
Yeah, connectors.
Having multiple SD cards in case, because you just never know.
Backup cameras.
What will happen? Backup cameras.
Backup batteries.
Backup batteries. You should see us the day before a wedding. We are in our office pretty much the entire day, making sure we have every last thing. We have lists. Everything.
We go through drawers that we haven't touched in months. We go through different bins. We go through everything to make sure that we don't forget anything and that we have everything when we arrive so that we can just get right to work.
Absolutely.
And not waste any time.
Should we move on to our next question?
Sure. What is the next question?
2 things we will never do again after the experience we've gotten in our first 2 years of business.
Always get a head count before this session.
Whew. Let us just tell you, we made the mistake in the first year, I would say mostly year in business, where someone would reach out to us with an inquiry for a family session. Okay, great. No problem. This is our price for family sessions. We look at their social media, maybe if they message us on social media, oh, they have a family of 4. Okay, cool. That's what we can expect. We show up the day of and there's a family of 11.
It was never mentioned.
Never mentioned like, hey, my grandma, my sisters, my Kit family, my brother's family.
3 people from out of state.
Don't mention it. And it's not their fault. It would be nice if they told us, but ideally.
Well, on our website, we do have, if they do, but I'm saying, like, if they do reach out to us on the website, we have it now where it says family up to 6, and then another section where another
6+
thing where it says 6+, family 6+.
But at the time, we didn't have that.
Yeah.
So it was just, oh, we have a family session. Okay, great. No problem. And we learned really quickly, wow, we're underselling ourselves because we're going to charge a family of 3 the same price that we're charging a family of 11 or 12. And it's not just one family, it's 3 families that all want separate photos, but all in one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like brothers, sisters, family, cousins, family. So that's something that we will never do again is walk into a shoot, I would say blind, with not knowing exactly what we're going into.
Which is our fault. but we fixed that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We fixed it. So that's just another piece of advice that we've learned in our 2 years is to always get a head count of how many people are coming because that'll stress you out. And the last thing you want is for your clients to see that you are a bit stressed.
Yeah.
And on top of that, say it is a family of 12, 13, you might want to make the time period of the session longer. So you're not rushing to get through things. So that's another reason you should really ask how many people are going to be there so you can make sure that you give an accurate time estimate.
Yeah, because if it's a bigger family or a bigger group, there's more different variations that you have to go through, which will take more time. So
which we've done. We've done a family of, I think they were 30. There's 23 grandchildren in the family. So 23 little kids plus their parents, plus their significant other, and then grandparents. And I think it was a family of 30, and that session took, I want to say, 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
And were we able to get all of the kids and all of the parents and everybody else to look at the camera at once and smile?
No.
Did we have to edit
this is where Vincent's Photoshop skills came in
10 or 15 different kids and their heads and their bodies and everything and their hair to make sure that they were looking at the camera? Yes, we did.
And we didn't just have to Photoshop the kids' faces. We Photoshopped the parents' faces.
Which I get it because, if
there's so much going on. But not only that, is that the day that we did that one, it was the windiest day in Southern California. Okay? The windiest day. So there was hair flying. And we can edit hair and things like that to an extent. So that was also added to fixing faces. We were also making sure, okay, this person's hair is in their face in this one. So let's try. We took a lot of photos that day. But
we
know that stories.
And we no longer shoot at that location because of that wind.
The wind is bad. But we learned a valuable lesson of time with that shoot. Is you always want to know, because imagine if they didn't tell us and we showed up and it was family of 30. Whew. Yeah. Another thing that I can firmly say that we will not do again in our 2 years of business, price negotiations.
No price negotiations. I mean, there are price negotiations, but not on our set prices.
Let's explain what we're saying.
We,
especially in our first year, we still get it here and there. People will send an inquiry out and we'll give them, our packaging list. Obviously, we have a minimum that we charge per hour. And we have had clients say, I can't really afford that right now, but I need you to take our photos. So do you think that you can do it for this price? And in our first year of business, of course, we're going to be like, yeah, no problem, because we want to get as much experience as we can. We're just thankful to have clients. So we did it a lot then. Now that we're on year 3.
And extremely busy.
A lot of clients don't understand the time that goes in after you see us for just that hour. We edit for 7 hours plus just your session. It would no price negotiations.
No, and we understand that not everybody can afford to have, professional, pictures taken. And, sometimes we'll just tell them maybe just wait for around Christmas time.
We do Christmas minis.
Yeah, the minis. And they're at a cheaper price. And because we want to make sure that we are able, if people want photos done.
And that also is that if they ask us, hey, do you have a mini package?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you ask us, we will definitely do it. It's,
depending on the time of the year, yes.
It depends on the time of the year. We will work with you, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just, it's hard when we know how much we have on our plate.
Yeah, it's difficult because you wouldn't go into a small business coffee shop and negotiate the price of their coffee or anything like that, right? Or a bagel or anything like that. So
I think that's just another one, and it takes a lot of it's difficult because we don't like to say no to people.
No, we don't.
We have a problem with doing that, so it makes it hard on us too. But I just think that something that we should really stick to in year 3 is sticking with what our prices are.
Yeah. Well,
but always doing Christmas minis because everyone loves Christmas minis.
Everybody loves
and
Christmas
everyone
minis.
deserves to have photos taken on Christmas.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's the time of giving back.
Okay, and I think our last question.
2 goals we have for year 3.
My goal for us is I would love to get published, whether that is a wedding magazine, The Knot. Hello, The Knot.
Where are you?
I would just love to get some of our wedding photos published. So that's a really big goal for us. I think I could speak for both of us.
Yeah.
In some fashion, whether it's print or online, just some recognition so that we can, help grow our business as well and have many people around the world see our work. That would just be incredible to me. So I think that's one of my goals, to get published.
Yeah, and it's really...
Get featured.
Show
our beautiful clients off.
And maybe our beautiful faces too.
There's never a problem with that. What's your goal for year 3?
I think one of the goals that I have, I'd really like to get the podcast to at least 100 subscribers.
I would love that.
I think year 3, I think a good goal would be to really expand a lot and to get to know more people and get seen by more people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's my goal.
I'm happy with that goal.
Which actually they're pretty much almost the same thing, because getting published will actually help get seen and everything. And
Absolutely.
Meeting more people, we could meet the right person, and that person could help us get published.
Or
so they actually work together. They're like
getting more views on here can grow us to where someone would want to publish us.
Yeah.
So I think that those work together too. We just want to grow our business, guys. Moral of the story.
Just trying to live the American dream.
The photographer and videographer dream. We just want to grow our business.
Yep.
Spread the love.
Spread the love.
Absolutely. Okay, are you ready for our special segment?
Our special segment is called
Snapped. So, with the Snapped segment, we will be doing these weekly, where we will go over different stories from others in our business, photographers, videographers, wedding professionals, just different things that they've experienced, and we're going to discuss what we would do in that situation, how we would feel in that situation. And I have one, Vincent. Would you like me to start, or would you?
No, you go for it.
Okay. I have, this was actually an ad that was put out. So someone put this ad out looking for a photographer, and I'm curious to know if you would respond to this ad.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Wanting a wedding photographer for virtually free.
That was the ad. That's what they started with?
That's what their subject was. Okay?
Okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize. That is the title of what someone posted. So someone screenshotted the ad and then posted this person wants it for virtually free. So, So sorry.
Okay.
That's not what it was called. So it is, this person says, no beginner level, 3.5 plus years experience only. Looking for a wedding photographer that will not take me for a ride. I only need you for 2 hours during my niece's wedding. I am paying $25 an hour for 2 hours.
You said how much? 25 an hour?
$25 an hour for 2 hours, $50 total. And you get free catered food and 1 free drink. If your photos are to my standards, I'll tip you an additional $25 after reviewing your final edits. Yes, this will include your editing too. No paying you $500 for 2 hours for your time for just a hobby, not a skill. Inflation is out of control. Wedding is in October. You will be dressed appropriately and be timely. Message me for more details.
First of all, inflation is not my fault. It's not your fault, and it's not her fault.
No.
So I don't know why she brought up inflation. It's difficult on all of us, okay?
Well, it's her tone for me. Saying I'm not going to pay you $500 for 2 hours of your time for just a hobby, not a skill. This is a livelihood.
It's a lively. I mean,
it's just rude. It comes off very rude. My question for you is, would you even answer the ad? I already know the answer.
No, of course I wouldn't. And I would tell everybody, even if you're a beginner and you haven't done a wedding and you want experience, don't go to her because that's a bad experience and it's going to put a bad taste in your mouth on weddings.
What weddings actually
and
are.
weddings are not like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
They're beautiful and they're just a great time. And that seems like it'd be a headache.
And if you're already coming off that, I would say aggressive. I think she's a little aggressive with her post.
Yeah, she needs to adjust her tone.
Just imagine how she would be after you return the photos. If they're not, what'd she say, to
her standards.
To her standards. So
her tone's not with my standards.
If your photos aren't to her standards, just imagine how much of a pain she'll be for $50. But hey, you might get a $25 tip on top of that $50. Not happening.
I would not do that. No. And I would hope that nobody, respectfully, I hope nobody did it. And I hope she just had everybody else take pictures with their phone.
You know what this is screaming to me? You can tell me if I'm wrong. So this woman is looking for a photographer for 2 hours during her niece's wedding, which to me tells me that her niece probably already has a photographer and videographer. She probably just wants her own to capture the day. That happens a lot.
Yeah, but okay. I understand that happens. Why? Why do you want that?
Control.
There's already another professional coming there.
They could have went out to lunch, anything, and she could have said, "Oh, I want to see your photographer's work," and her niece could have showed it to her, and she could have said, "I don't like it. I want someone else to do the photos." It happens a lot with in-laws. I know that they'll hire their own, and then it upsets the bride, obviously. But to me, this is screaming, I don't like who my niece hired, so I'm gonna hire someone myself.
It's not her wedding, though.
Correct.
It's not her wedding. It's her niece's wedding. So
I would
let the niece take care of it.
I would never want to work at this wedding.
No, I would never, and I hope nobody did, respectfully. I hope people there got pictures with their phones and everything, and hopefully the niece hired her own photographer and was able to get beautiful photos and stuff. I would not want to work, respectfully, I would not want to work for that lady. Her tone needs adjusted. And
don't insult someone that you're trying to hire. That's really big.
I don't understand that. I don't know.
So that's my first one of
I don't know
segment.
if she thought like that would help and maybe people would actually respond and actually want to get it.
You know, I'm going to have to do research on this. We'll do research and see if we can find any type of updates to see if anyone said, "Hey, I did it," or "Hey, I'm the niece." But we'll do some research and see in the next couple podcasts if we can come back with one.
I'm checking on TikTok because I know it's going to be somewhere on TikTok.
It has to be. Well, yeah, because this was posted on Reddit only 57 days ago. So we might have an update. I'll have to look for it. We'll
look for it and maybe we'll get an update. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. We have another one.
All right. I'm excited. Let's hear it.
This one, the title of it is Divorced Woman Demands Refund from Wedding Photographer 4 years Later.
It's a tad bit too late, don't you think?
So,
but I'd love to hear why.
Yeah. So they posted the text message chain where it has it. There's a couple text messages, just can't see those, but the main one says, "You did a wonderful job on them, but they went to waste as we are now divorced.
That's not my problem.
I will need a refund amount we paid because we don't need them anymore."
They don't need the photos anymore?
They do not need the photos anymore. The photographer responded back, "Pardon me? This has to be a joke, right?"
So you're telling me that they got divorced and now she doesn't want to see the photos anymore, so that's the photographer's problem. 4 years later.
4 years later. I don't understand that. I don't understand that whatsoever.
What's funny is that
the work's already gone in.
I can see Vincent and I getting a message like this and just sitting in this office, just completely dumbfounded.
I wouldn't respond.
I honestly think I would laugh.
I don't think I'd respond, to be honest with you, because the time's already been spent. That's literally like saying
the time and effort.
That's like saying I took my car in 4 years ago to get tires on it, and yesterday I got in a car accident and my car's totaled now. But I paid for those tires 4 years ago. I'm gonna go back to the mechanic and demand a refund for my tires. It just doesn't make any sense.
Because I don't know if a lot of people realize that when you hire a photographer, yeah, you get photos in return, but you're pretty much hiring us for our time. And whether it's an hour session or an 8-hour wedding, yeah, you see us for 8 hours, you see us for an hour. But for like weddings itself, you don't understand how much time it goes into editing every single last photo, whether it's one of our weddings that has 400 photos or one of our weddings that has 800 photos. We edit each individual photo. We take things out.
We spend
of each
6
one.
to 8 hours, whatever package you choose or whatever,
Yeah.
at the wedding itself, and then
20 plus hours afterwards.
20 plus, way more than that.
We're gonna have to make a video on our editing process and
how long
like
it takes.
how detailed it is, but
Yeah.
that's just, it's comical to me. I can't imagine. I can't imagine getting a message like that and someone being serious.
Maybe she thought it would work.
No.
No?
Mm-mm. I don't even see one like instance where it could work.
It's an A for effort.
A for effort. I wonder if she messaged the florist back too.
To the dead flowers?
And the cake maker and the person who sold her the dress. Like, hey.
What about the venue?
It was nice for that day.
I want a refund on the venue.
But we're not married anymore and somehow it's your fault. So I would really like a refund.
Like I said, A for effort.
A for effort.
She tried, and the photographer responded back perfectly. Pardon me, this has to be a joke, right?
It's funny because she responded respectfully, but still with a.
I mean, I would say I'm sorry that like.
Sorry it didn't work out.
Yeah.
4 years later.
But about the photos, I'm sorry.
It's like, what does she expect? She can't return the photos. You already have them.
She said we don't need them anymore.
Well.
Yeah, well.
But you had them for 4 whole years. You did. That's funny to me.
And she also said that person did a wonderful job, but it was a waste.
So it's not the photographer's fault at all.
The photographer didn't get married to him. No.
No.
They just did the job 4 years ago.
In case anyone's wondering what we would do in that situation, sorry. I don't know if you'd even get a response. I'd probably respond because we're very nice, but it would be pretty much sorry about your marriage.
Yeah, that would be it. You know.
Still be nice, but
I think the car analogy was pretty good.
The car analogy was great.
So
it's pretty accurate. So I have one last one.
All right.
If that's okay with you. This one, I don't know if you guys have. If you listen to other podcasts, you may have heard. This is an AITA, am I the a-hole reference. So people go on things like Reddit or Google and ask, am I in the wrong pretty much for how I feel or what I did in this situation. So this one is, am I the a-hole for not wanting to be the wedding photographer at my best friend's wedding? This one's pretty long, so I won't, read the whole thing. But pretty much this is just saying she is a photographer, but it's more for a hobby. She has done one wedding previously to this one. So she's not a seasoned photographer.
Yeah.
And she did her best friend's engagement photos.
Okay.
So the best friend and her fiance already know the work that she produces. But in the meantime, she asked the best friend, the photographer, to be a bridesmaid at the wedding. So they want her to be in the wedding. But now they are asking her to shoot their wedding.
So in wedding and capture the wedding.
And capture the wedding for free. Because they don't want to spend money on a photographer.
I mean.
But there's a little bit more.
Okay.
They said, you could just take a few pictures here and there.
She seems like she's being nice about it.
You don't have to do the whole wedding. So for example, even if I were to do this, this is what's going on in her head when they're saying this. Even if I were to do this, I couldn't just take pictures of them. A wedding is something special, and I would need to make sure I capture every moment. Specifically because the fiance's family, she already knows, obviously it's her best friend's fiance, is a little much.
Okay.
She refers to them as toxic. She said that she knows for a fact that they are going to treat her like an employee at the wedding. So even though she's a bridesmaid and she's the bride's best friend,
Yeah.
she knows if she agrees to do this and take a few photos, she is going to be stuck capturing the entire day, and she's going to be spoken to and treated like an employee by the groom's family.
Okay.
Which I get, because that's what photographers, we are employees.
Yeah.
But if you are the best friend, I feel like that is a little hot water, because no one will really know how to go about it.
I would have her best friend, the photographer's best friend who's
Mhm.
asking this, to talk to her groom's family.
Also, she's scared of his family because she's terrified of some type of malfunction with the camera and her to lose the only photos of that day. And she's scared, if that were to happen, would I lose my best friend as well? And how would his family react?
By the way that she's talking about the family, I don't think the family would forgive her
No, but
if that happened.
Because personally, I feel like I would absolutely love to be a photographer for any of our friends' weddings.
I would just make that clear with, like, if that were my best friend, and say I didn't have maybe that reliable of a camera, or I didn't have a dual SD card camera. I would just warn her and say, there is a possibility, it's slim, but there's a possibility that I can take your photos and
something could happen.
The SD card could crash and we could lose all the photos. I would tell her that. I would tell her to talk to the groom side of the family and just make sure that they treat her with respect and that they're nice to her. And I think if they did that, if she did that, I think I would do it.
I get where she's coming from when she says she's scared that there's going to be some type of malfunction and it would hurt her friendship. Like, that's terrifying.
Well, that's why
which a lot of people don't mix business and friendships together. But your best friend. You know what I mean?
It's why it's important to be
like, I know my best friend.
Fully transparent with your best friend and to make sure.
And even though she is your best friend, you still give her a contract.
You have to give her a contract because that's to protect your butt and, You're
not getting sued. I 100% would do it. As long as it's a communication thing.
We've done
also.
events for our friends before.
Yeah.
We did one
your
for
best
Paul.
friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did his best friend's sister's quinceañera and it went smoothly.
It was a lot of fun, actually. I liked it a lot.
It was great. He tried getting us to have some drinks during the quince, and I was 100% opposed. Not because I don't want drinks. I'm terrified of myself with cameras.
Did I have a drink with my best friend at the event? I did.
I didn't. Because if he's going to drink, that's fine. But I need to make sure I know where the cameras are at all times because nothing can happen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I only had one drink. It was a small drink.
But at the same time, if we were to do one of our friends' weddings, I don't want to have a drink and,
I feel like it's only appropriate to have a drink when it's just dancing at the very, very end. It's just dancing. Like, obviously, you're not going to have one after the ceremony. Yeah, you're not going to have one after right after the ceremony because you got to get all the pictures and everything. But after they they do the dancing and stuff. Yeah.
I also feel like just maybe because our lives are so intertwined with our work, it would almost be weird for me if my best friend Kayla and Freddie got married and we didn't capture it.
Although
I'm expecting to be the maid of honor also.
But
I would figure it out.
Although I understand them not hiring us because they want us to have fun.
Be involved.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I would just be staring at the photographer all day long.
I wouldn't. I would.
Because
then I'd stress myself out because then I'd go, that looks like a weird angle, or that's different.
See, and I feel that's what would scare me is that I would do something like that.
That's when you have a drink and you sit back
you calm down
and you relax.
You're not in charge.
Yeah.
Reese likes to be in charge.
Yeah, that's what weddings are for the guests, is to have you have a drink, you sit back. You don't have too many drinks because, you want to remember the night and everything.
Right.
And you sit back, relax, and, enjoy the bride and the groom.
I think overall we would probably do it. But there'd have to be good communication with our friend, whoever the friend may be, and a contract in place to save yourself.
Yeah, to help protect their relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The friendship. So I think that's it for this week's segment of Snapped. Please let us know in the comments if you liked this, if you're on YouTube. If you liked Snapped, if you want to see more of it. I really enjoyed it. These are fun for me. I like hearing other people's stories.
Well, we have a horror story too, of our own.
Ooh. We do. We do. We should definitely add that in. Okay, so for our first week of the segment Snapped, we should probably give you one of our horror stories. Who would like to Who would like to say it?
So was it our first engagement shoot?
Second. We had our first 2 engagement sessions were in the same week.
Yeah, it was our second engagement session
that we had ever done.
It was in a very interesting location. It was at the
cemetery.
It was at the cemetery.
Okay, and this is totally up my alley.
I know. It's like the old vintage
like
cemetery
the
where they have it's a really beautiful location.
And if this couple is listening to us, it was one of my favorite sessions we've ever done. So this is not a horror story about you. You guys were amazing.
It has nothing to do with you guys. It was they don't even know what happened. It happened after we had gotten home, and
Correct.
it wasn't even our fault, and
No.
it had nothing to do with
it. But it's
them.
a good learning lesson. But yes, it was in a cemetery. She had one of the most gorgeous dresses I've ever seen on, and their last name matched up with why it was at a cemetery. It was just perfect. Okay, the lighting was perfect. We got the coolest shots. It was one of the first sessions we got to artistically be ourselves. Like we got to play around with it because they were so much fun where they would just let us do whatever. Mm-hmm. So we got to move with different angles, different lighting, different backgrounds, obviously in a cemetery. But it was overall like we walked out of that session that day like, wow, like we cannot wait to edit.
So we get home. We plug the SD card into the computer.
Let's clarify that Vincent was the main shooter that day. I was the second shooter, and the SD card in question was Vincent's.
Dun, dun, dun. So we plugged the SD card into the computer. We also had a hard drive connected to the computer as well.
A Lacey hard drive.
Lacey hard drive. We'll talk about that in a minute. So we go to open the photos, and I think it didn't open. There was nothing.
Just there was a file, like the file where the photos would be.
But nothing was in it.
And nothing was in it. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Let's backtrack. They were there 1 second. Remember?
Oh, yeah. We got a glimpse of them.
It opened up. They were there. And then all of a sudden, you just started seeing them disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
Just gone. And this was also in our first year of business. So...
And a beautiful shoot.
Just imagine our panic, okay?
And we did not have the cameras that we had now, where we have 2 SD card slots.
No.
Our first cameras, we don't have them near us, but they only have 1 SD card slot. So if your SD card crashes, that's not good.
And when we tell you that this was the type of shoot you just could not recreate.
No.
It was just
if you tried it when it wouldn't look as good.
The creativeness that we bounced off with our clients.
Yeah.
It was once in a lifetime. Like we were not gonna, even if we rescheduled it because they were nice, they would have done it. It wouldn't have been the same. So we panicked. We looked on the Lacey hard drive to see if maybe they just kind of transferred over by themselves. No.
Nope.
Not there. Took the SD card out, put it back in. Now it says there's absolutely nothing. It was just blank. So we
talking about we put it back in the camera.
We put it back in the camera. Yeah. We put it back in the computer.
Yep.
We were trying everything. Like, where are the photos? They have to be somewhere. We didn't delete them. There's no way that this is happening to us. These are brand new SD cards as well. Fully panicked. We called the SD card company.
They couldn't do anything about it. They couldn't. They felt bad. They felt really bad. They made me fill out a form, and a couple weeks later, they sent us a brand new SD card.
But that didn't help us.
That didn't help us at anything. So we did some research. We looked around. We found a software that we would have to download, and we did download. Plug the SD card in, and we were able to retrieve all of the photos that we took. They don't know that happened. They'll know now. If they ever
listen to this, surprise, we lost all your photos.
Well, we lost half of your photos.
Well, okay, we lost all of Vincent's photos, which were the best ones. We lost all of them.
Yeah.
Panicked, cried, screamed, retrieved them all.
Took a deep breath and
as soon as they were on our computer, the full quality of them and everything. Took a deep breath, and
we were able to get them back.
Some of my favorite photos to this day. I mean, our camera quality wasn't even as great as it is now, but those photos were just...
They're beautiful.
Amazing, and no one ever knew.
But now we shoot with
2 SD card slots.
2 SD cards at all times. once we get home, we'll back them up onto the hard drives. And sometimes we'll even double or nothing, and we'll put it onto either her laptop, the computer, and my laptop.
And we no longer use a Lacey hard drive because I still am convinced.
No, this is, if anyone's wondering, these are the Lacey hard drives. Okay, they look cool, and this is what the YouTubers and everybody uses, and they look cool. And normally they have them on the back right there, so it looks cool. But I mean, they just don't work. First of all, I don't know if you've ever seen one without it. That's ugly.
I don't like it without the orange thing.
Without the orange thing, it's nothing. So they added the orange thing so they'd sell more, and it worked. But now we use the SanDisk.
And not only that, we've also lost, like, we always we back up all of our photos that we take onto the hard drive after our sessions. We've lost sessions that we've put on there, and they're just not there anymore. Thankfully, those were after they've already been sent out and everything. We just wanted them for content reasons, but I'm not using it.
No, and this is, I don't think this is water resistant.
I don't know. I can't speak on it because
I don't know if it is or not, because it doesn't look like it. But what I do know is that these SanDisk ones, number one, they're smaller. They have a little hook on them, so you can easily hook onto it. And super slim. Like if we shot a wedding, like when we did in Sacramento, shot the wedding, got back to the hotel, put them on this, and then I kept that in my pocket as we left the camera and the SD cards back at the hotel, just in case there's a fire at the hotel, our cameras got stolen or something like that. We knew that we had the footage and all the photos with us at all times. And these things are the best. They're super fast. They're way faster than the Lacey, and we recommend them.
But I do have to say that Lacey is water resistant to drop, rain, and crust resistant. So it is resistant. I just don't like them.
They're not reliable though.
Not reliable. So yeah, that's our horror story.
They could be bulletproof, nuke proof.
The most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
I don't care because I want the photos to be backed up, and it didn't work for us. So. Yeah.
But that is our horror story. One of our first engagement sessions, we lost everything. Recovered it. Turned out just fine. Yeah. But I was already planning what I was going to say to the bride, or the bride engagement. The bride in our head, like, okay, what are we going to have to say to her? How are we going to fix this? And thankfully we didn't have to. We fixed it ourselves. But
thank goodness.
Yeah, it was also a learning lesson.
We're good now, though.
We're good now. But we'll never delete that software from our computer because you just...
No, we still have it.
You never know.
Till this day.
Never know. Well, I think that wraps up Snapped for this week.
Yes.
Stay tuned for next week for more interesting stories.
Yes. And just to remind you, we are now on Apple Podcast. I don't know if that shows up in Apple Music.
I don't think it does. I think it's just podcast.
Okay, so Apple Podcast. We'll try to figure out if we can get it on Apple Music. It's kind of difficult to figure that out.
We're predominantly Spotify people when it comes to listening to things. So
her mom likes Apple Music,
which is why we're on Apple Podcasts. Yeah.
But we want to make sure that we're on all platforms that everybody can see and hear. So
you hear that, Mom?
But we're on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts as of today. Yes. So make sure you go and you check all those out. Make sure you subscribe to Spotify. We might do a giveaway
coming up.
If we can get to 100 subscribers on Spotify within, I think, maybe 60 days or so.
Yeah.
If we can get to 100,
I totally do a giveaway.
We will do a giveaway.
Yeah, absolutely.
To the people who subscribe to that.
Yes.
And also make sure you subscribe to YouTube and
everything else.
And follow us on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok.
Yes, on Instagram we are at the @ Snap Duo, SNAPP. DUO, Snap Duo. Come check us out, our photos, our work, and we are so excited to talk to you again next week.
Yes.
Oh, and happy 2 years to Snap Duo.
Happy 2 years. High five. Bam.
Made it work. They probably can't even see that because
they can't.
Things are.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us. Make sure to like, subscribe, and come talk to us again next week.
Yes, and we'll also be doing a maybe a Q&A for people to do send us a question on Instagram, and we can answer it here on the podcast.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
So we should be doing that so that maybe by next week or the week after we'll have those questions and we'll answer those questions. So
And I would just like to also say that next week's podcast will fall on the week of my 25th birthday.
I'm not going to say it. I was going to say, damn.
So maybe we'll do something fun next week for my birthday.
Yes. Yes, we'll do something very fun.
Yeah. Oh, and by the time this comes out, this is my dad's birthday week. So happy 45th birthday to my dad.
Happy 45th birthday to Michael Myers.
You have to say what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's an inside thing, but
happy 45th to our incredible dad.
We'll have to sing him happy birthday, like Marilyn Monroe.
No, you have to.
Yeah.
So.
If anyone's curious, by the way, my birthday falls.
Oh, goodness.
My birthday, me and Monica Lewinsky share the same birthday.
And my dad and Bill Clinton share a birthday. So we say that Vincent's the Monica to my dad's Bill. They're two peas in a pod, okay? Yeah. They're best friends.
Yeah.
But yes, happy birthday to my dad this week. And next week we will have to celebrate mine.
Woo woo. Woo woo. Yeah, so stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe and like the video. And
we'll see you all next week.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.